Okay, today we're going to be learning about holes and circular patterns, and we're first going to make a circular plate and show you all the different kinds of holes that you can make. This is especially helpful if you have screws and bolts and things like that. So we'll go ahead and make the circular plate first, and then we'll start placing the holes. So in Inventor, start a new part and start a 2D sketch on your XY plane, and we notice that this larger circle has a diameter of 4 inches, so that's what I'm going to create first. And I can hit zoom all over here, and that will put that circle within the window so I can see it. Then I need to create this inner circle, and it has a diameter right here of 2.5 inches. Notice that it's a dashed line, which means it's really only a construction line, and I'll need that here in a minute to place my holes. So I'm going to go ahead and create that inner circle, and then I'll call it a construction line here in a minute. So I've finished this sketch first, and I'm going to go ahead and extrude the circle that I just made. I need to extrude that 1.5 inches, which is the width here. So I'm going to do that and extrude that 1.5 inches and hit OK. Now I'm going to start a 2D sketch right on the surface of that plate that I just made, and I'm going to create that inner circle now that is 2.5 inches. But again, remember that I really don't want that to be a circle that shows up. I want it to be a construction line. So I'll go ahead and escape out of my circle tool, and then I'll right click on that circle and make it a construction line. Now what I want to do is place points where I want my holes. And so my first point, I'm making sure that it's right on that inner circle. I'm going to go ahead and hit escape, and then I'm going to use the circular pattern tool to create points all around this circle the same distance from each other. So I'm going to choose that point, then I'm going to choose my arrow over here, and my axis will be that circle, and I need 5 of those holes. So 5 holes all the way around. And it's hard to see these, but they're right here in green. It's placed the points all the way around. So I can finish sketch. So I'm going to create my first hole, but I only want it to be this hole is the only one I want it to be through. So I'm going to hold my shift key down and click on these other holes, so that will go away. And notice I have to have the white crosshairs in order to be able to click that. And then I can click the check mark, and that's my first hole. Now all of my points are gone that I just made, but if you will click the plus sign beside of hole 2 and right click on this sketch and click share sketch, it makes another sketch of what you just made. And this sketch right here I'll make my other holes with. So I'll click on this other sketch, and I'll click my hole tool again. Now my next hole is this one right here, and that hole is called a counter bore. It's a counter bore hole, and what happens on that is you've got a bolt that has like a square or rectangular head on it, and then the shaft of the bolt. And so we need to, so sometimes if you want that to be flush with the top of whatever you're putting that in, you do a hole called a counter bore hole, where it will make a larger hole at the top and then smaller here at the bottom for the shaft of the bolt. So that's what we're going to make next. And so again, I want to deselect my other ones. So this hole in order to make a counter bore hole, it's this second option there. So I want to choose the second option. Then I want to make sure all my measurements are right. So up here at the top, that one's 0.75. And then if I look, the next one's 0.25. And then the last one, the diameter, is 0.375. And we're going to leave this first option. And then instead of hitting OK this time, we're going to hit apply. I'm not sure why it won't let us do that the first time, but it won't. So if I hit apply, it will then go to the next hole. Again, I'll have to deselect the other ones. So the next hole, I want it to be a countersink hole, which is very similar to a counter bore, but instead of the head of the bolt being rectangular, it's kind of a triangle. So it's kind of acts the same way though. So I want to create a countersink hole, which is the last option. So this option here, and I want that to be 0.75, 82 degrees, and 0.375, and all of those measurements are still okay. And let's just make sure, but I'm pretty sure it wants to go through all, and that is true. And again, don't hit OK, hit apply so that we can make our next one. So after the countersink hole, then the next one that we're going to make is called a tapped hole. And a tapped hole, basically it threads the hole, so it makes it easier for a screw to go in. So we're going to make a tapped hole next, and notice that it's going to give us lots of different, these here are the size of the screw and what the normal type of screw it is. So we're going to do that one next. So again, I'll deselect the last hole, and then I'll choose the first option, but I want it, this means it's threaded all the way through, so I'm going to choose that option. And when I choose this third option, it's going to open up that other menu here in a minute. Mine is being a little bit slow, so I have to give it some time. So make sure that all these options are the same. So the size needs to be 0.25, so we'll change that to 0.25, and then 1/4-20 UNC, and then the class is 1B. And then again, I'll hit apply, and then I just have one more hole to do, and that one is the clearance hole, and that one is again the first option, but this second choice. And then we're going to change the type of bolt that's going in there. So they want it to be a hex head bolt, 1/2 inch, and the normal fit. So we'll choose the first option, then the second option here. Again, I'm going to have to wait for it to populate this menu down here. And mine's being slow, but we got the screw heads, but this needs to be a hex head bolt, and then the size, they want that to be 1/2, and then the fit is normal, and then we'll hit apply, and then we're all finished with all 5 of the holes. So save this one as the circular plate, on your Z drive in the Geometry of Design folder.